again recognized.
When Governor Alia of Benue State released this statement, it sounded like a threat. But one would say, against who? Who is trying to visit the state? Why is he banning people or stopping people from visiting IDP camps? Anyone visiting an IDP camp is going there to help the people, because obviously the government is not doing enough. Some of them have spent years in IDP camps, so it means the government is not even prepared to take them back to their homes. These people lost their homes to terrorist attacks, they lost loved ones. The government is not doing anything to return them to their homes, to rebuild their societies so that they can get back to their normal lives. Are they going to spend their entire lives in IDP camps? And when you read some parts of the statement where he says he can't guarantee, or the state government can't guarantee the safety of anyone visiting the state, visiting an IDP camp without approval from the government, it sounded like a threat when you consider the fact that Peter Obi was actually in nearby Plateau State, where the governor received him. We'll see what he said. He called it what it is, a genocide against the people.
What happened in Plateau State, in Bokos to be precise, over the last 2 weeks, was nothing short of genocide. I have gone from political correctness to call a spade a spade. That what we are having is not a clash. It's a deliberate, orchestrated, planned attack to evacuate people from their homelands. And yesterday we visited one of the communities that was attacked 2 years ago. The people had to flee from their lands. Ironically, their houses have been taken over by the bandits. Not only taken over, but even some of the houses have been demolished and the blocks have been removed to rebuild for the bandits.
We will hear the rest of what Plateau State Governor said in that meeting with Peter Obi. One thing is very clear, he takes it very seriously. This is what is expected from Benue State Governor Alia, because killings also happen in his state. Why is he politicizing it? If the government can't help people, you can't save them from being killed, you cannot even rehouse them, return them to their homes, and you also don't want people to come and help them. This is pure evil. There's no other way to describe it. You cannot block the road and refuse to pass, and also refuse to give way for others to pass. No, you can't have it both ways. Benue people must realize who their real enemies are. The primary job of a government is to protect lives and property. They can't do that. They are also preventing people who want to help and donate to the people victims of massacres. They are preventing them from doing so. Peter Obi went to Bokos, where there was a massacre recently, and he donated millions of naira to them. So basically, Governor Alia of Benue State is preventing victims of massacre, people living in IDP camps in Benue State, people who are disillusioned. They cannot spend the rest of their lives in an IDP camp. He's preventing them, or not even preventing, he blocked millions going to them. A private citizen who is empathetic to their plight decided to donate money to the downtrodden, and a governor whose primary responsibility is to protect lives of his residents decided to stop him from doing so just because of politics. This is wickedness of the highest order. Why should Nigerian politicians continue playing politics with lives of Nigerians? Why should everything be reduced to politics? Simple things become complicated once Nigerian politicians are involved. People are massacred on a daily basis in Nigeria. People run for their lives, abandon their communities because they are defenseless. They are now settled in an IDP camp where, of course, it's not their home. They can't farm, they can't live their normal lives. Remember that most of these people that are displaced are local farmers. These terrorists always attack them, take over their communities, and a governor cannot even have sympathy on the people he is governing, on the residents of the state. This is very, very condemnable. Now, since the ban on unauthorized visits to IDP camps in Benue State by Governor Alia, it is very obvious that it was targeted at Peter Obi. Now, Peter Obi has responded to him. In a statement he posted on his verified X handle, he said, "Ordinarily, I would not have commented on this issue as I have endured far worse situations in my political life since I declared for the presidency, and it continues to worsen as I strive to do things in a civilized and organized manner. The unfolding events demand that I have to start speaking out now. On what transpired today during my planned visit to Benue State, I am not entirely sure that the state governor, my dear younger brother, a reverend father I deeply respect, is aware of this situation. Having exhausted every possible means to reach him, I am compelled to use this available platform to ensure my message is conveyed. On Thursday, the 10th of April, I had planned to visit Plateau and Benue State respectively. Plateau on Sunday, the 13th of April 2025, and Benue on Monday, the 14th of April 2025. My trip included paying courtesy calls to the governors as well as visiting the IDP camps and schools of nursing in both states to give my support. As is my practice, I reached out to the Plateau State government to inform them of my visit, which included spending the day with the victims at the IDP camp in Bokos, a visit I wholeheartedly embraced to extend my support, care and compassion to fellow Nigerians in need, and in his utmost hospitality, the Plateau State governor graciously permitted. In a similar vein, I tried repeatedly to contact the Benue State governor directly without success. I then successfully contacted his ADC, who told me that the governor was in a very important meeting and would call me before midnight on the same day. Unfortunately, I didn't get the call until Sunday evening when he sent me a message stating he had not been able to reach his principal since the day I called. I was disturbed by how an ADC would not have been able to reach his principal for 3 days. However, because my visit to the governor was just for courtesy and respect, I decided to proceed with my trip to Makurdi. Earlier today, at 7 a.m., I left Jos, and on reaching Akwanga at about 10 a.m., my security team stopped and stated they received a press statement purportedly from the Benue State government that appeared designed to stop my trip. Curiously, while I was still talking with my security team on the issue, the governor's ADC sent the statement directly to me. The letter refers exactly to my itinerary, which I had earlier conveyed to the ADC directly and to the security operatives in Benue through my own security. I am forced to remind them and all concerned that the purpose of this journey is to support good causes in areas of critical development, health and health education and caring for our people in need. And this is what I have done in my private life for years before getting into politics, and even while in politics, I have continued to do so. Everyone knew then how I had to get permission from the then President Goodluck Jonathan, that I needed to visit Haiti during the earthquake. I intended to visit a school being built by the bishop in Boko, a nursing school and an IDP camp, actions that affect my genuine care for the welfare of our fellow citizens and my continuous show of love, care and compassion to citizens who have been displaced. May God help us as we rebuild our nation and aim to achieve a new Nigeria where we do not politicize everything but allow citizens to exist, and we all should live for the common good for less privileged Nigerians and those in need. There are no words to explain the disgraceful behavior of Governor Alia for politicizing the whole thing. He prevented displaced people in IDP camps and nursing schools from receiving donations from a private citizen. Anyway, going by what is happening in these states where there are massive killings, massacres of innocent people that are not armed, from Enugu, Ondo State, Benue State, Plateau State, in the northeast, in the northwest, all of these governors should follow the advice of the SSS director.
Most of you will remember an incident in Azari. A group of terrorists, the Boko Haram, then had invaded Azari. They were shooting in an attempt to kidnap, and the community chased them. They killed some members of the community, but the committee members killed all of them. The last guy, Khalid, climbed onto a tree and was firing. The community stood, they were resilient, and they killed Khalid. Since that day, there has not been one terrorist attack in Azad. As a matter of fact, the former head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, said, and I quote, "If we want to stop or curb this terrorism, we should emulate the Azari example." Afe Babalola also happened to be a local government in Bauchi that was always in flames. And the people of Bogoro and some part of Afe Babalola, where the Sayawas are, rose up on one occasion. They knew their terrain better, climbed onto trees and mountains. When the invaders came, they did not only repel them, they seized their weapons. And since then, you can attest to it that you hardly hear about Afe Babalola again. What I'm trying to say, the practical approach to mobilizing people, is that you have to get everyone involved. You do not expect the Nigerian Army, police, DSS, to protect every Nigerian or every community. It is not going to work. The community should say, you cannot come here. This is what Afe Babalola has done. If you go to that community to attack them, you'll be sorry for yourself. I challenge anybody to try it. And this is the way we have to do. We have to allow some level of armament for the communities, and they can serve as the first line of defense. Second takeaway from what the general said, whole society approach is not the first time we are hearing. But what I'm saying, the way to do it is when we live here, those of us who have some influence, the elites in society, discuss with your communities, come to us, get some sort of approval and guidance, and then we can stop these criminals. We have to get the communities to rise and defend themselves first. And the time to start it is now.
The SSS director sounds very professional. It is reminiscent of the SSS of the early days, only if they can focus on their core mandate instead of going after dissenting voices or opposition members. Anyway, there is no law stopping these governors from setting up vigilantes that can go hard on these criminals and terrorists. The only language they understand, all criminals, terrorists and the likes, is force. Match them with more force that they can muster, and you will win. They will run away forever. Without that, we'll be hearing killings, massacres every day. Now, let's hear the remaining part of Governor Mutfwang's speech and Peter Obi's response.
Your campaign in the last presidential election was a glass-shattering effort that it will be difficult to forget in a long while. What you showed was that the will of the people can actually, when properly harnessed, can translate into a movement that will push the frontiers of democracy. But I want to thank you for how you have always stood with the downtrodden. It has become the hallmark of your life. And you have identified with the downtrodden across the country. Indeed, church services are going on. But if we understand the scriptures, it's better to be discussing something that will help humanity than going to sit in church. That was the principle behind the story of the Good Samaritan. We have a situation on our hands that calls for compassion, calls for action. And we want to thank you sincerely, sir, for taking out your time and hitting the road this morning, spending over 3 hours to get in here to commiserate with us and to be able to also look for yourself, see for yourself the challenges that people have been forced into. What happened in Plateau State, in Bokos to be precise, over the last 2 weeks was nothing short of genocide. We've been playing with this matter as a nation for over 2 decades. So time has come when there must be elite consensus that this has to stop. If we don't wake up to stop it now, we may wake up and find out we have no country to call our own. May God forbid that. So thank you, sir, for coming. We appreciate all that you have done. I didn't know that he had even sacked a borehole in Bokos before, and we truly appreciate that. And, we trust that together we'll be able to do more for humanity. And so, as you spend the rest of the day in and around Plateau, we pray that God will preserve you. And as you return to Abuja, may the good Lord take you back safely. Thank you for coming.
Every day, and we have no reason as a country to be going through this. We have no reason for people to be chased out of their communities to IDP camp. We're not at war. This is a country that is not at war. And I know that people know reasons behind this, and it has to be solved. People must live in their communities, be able to go to their farms, live a life that is protected by government of Nigeria. Because that is the first assignment they have, to protect life and property. I thank you in particular for what the state government is doing under you. And I know that Nigerians are with you. We are praying with you. I in particular have always followed up what you do, and I've always condemned what is happening all over Nigeria, where our people are being killed, chased out of the communities for no reason other than they were people who felt they should accommodate others and live with them. And that we must all work together to stop. That's the only reason why I came here. May God Almighty continue to be with you, the good people of Plateau State, and ensure that all this is stopped by families who lost their lives, and God will grant them eternal rest, grant their families the fortitude, and that all of us support them at this time of difficulty.